Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. It is me, Captain Logan. Joining me, as always, is my fantabulous chat moderator and producer. It's DJ Martinez. Greetings, DJ.
Greetings, Captain.
We have returned on a lovely but excruciatingly hot outside, at least here, Thursday. Maybe not as hot as it was a little bit earlier in the day. I was out all afternoon, got real sweaty. It was very hot outside.
Oh, nice. Great visual to start the show.
But now I'm, in my very cool air-conditioned bunker that is always cooler than I want it to be, and then I go upstairs and it's warmer than I want it to be. So that's the problem with having like a decent-sized house, but only one air unit, one air conditioner is like one level is, moderately fine, and then everything else is not at all what you want it to be.
Hey, that's a good thing too, man. We have 3 HVAC systems in our house, 3. So hopefully they don't all go out at the same time, or we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but I don't envy you paying for that. Like I don't envy your energy bill. Yeah,
it's going to be rough. But our basement one actually went out, or they told us we need a new one, but then they reflipped the switch and now it's working again. But it was getting a little toasty in the movie theater the last couple days.
Yeah.
So.
I bet. Well, first world problems, right?
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, how the heck is everybody? We're going to have a pretty lickety-split lead-in topic tonight, I think, because I had a plan, and it was completely derailed by contrary news to what I was going to discuss and report. But good news. I'm glad it happened that way. I just wish I had known about this early enough to pick a different topic, so we're going to still talk about the thing I was going to do. It just is now the opposite of what of the news I was going to discuss. Very odd. This has not happened before. It's going to be
first.
It's good though, because it's going to be less waste your time Volution. Probably than usual, but especially than in those cases where I spend half an hour rambling about what turns out to be a rumor, and then the next day this happens to happen a lot, but it's happened. And then the next day I have to you post something on the community tab and be like, okay, never mind, psych, sorry about that. Disregard everything I said yesterday. So at least it won't be like that. Like, I was getting together the thumbnail when I realized, when I discovered that the news was had been paved over. And I was like, "Oh no, this is gonna be a weird show." So anyway, we'll talk about the whole Gal Gadot Wonder Woman thing. When I thought that she might still be somehow doing a third Wonder Woman movie, and that she was going to be Wonder Woman in James Gunn's reboot, which does not compute to me. It makes no sense whatsoever. I couldn't fathom that as a possibility, but she just insisted on it, and all the outlets, even the pseudo trustworthy ones, were like, "Yeah, it looks like this is happening," and everybody was kind of throwing their hands in the air. What I wrote for the thumbnail was, "I'm so confused." And frankly, I could have left it, and maybe I should have, because I'm still really confused. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. The last few days, I have been working kind of nonstop on the Superhero Rewind movie film script. I took a little bit of time off from that, actually quite a bit of time off from that. I hit a wall with it, and we found out that we were having another child in December, and I found myself going, I don't even know when I'm going to be able to shoot this thing. Is it going to make sense to try to finish it? I promised too many people that it was going to happen, and I already had some irons in the fire with it. So I went, you know what? I'm gonna get myself together. I'm gonna make it happen. And DJ feverishly working on this script. I was on.
Wow.
And remember, I have not touched this thing. I've not looked about it. I barely thought about it in like 4 or 5 months, and or at least 3. But I think it's been almost that long. And I took a couple weeks off to write it. I got halfway through it, and then, like I said, I hit a wall. And I was on page 53 of what I was hoping would be about a 90-page script. It may end up being longer than that. I may have to pare it down we'll see how long the actual movie is ultimately going to end up being. But I'm trying real hard not to make it, a 2-hour movie. I want it to be shorter than that if I can help it. But I'm gonna tell. It's gonna be the length it's gotta be to tell the story, such as it is, as goofy as this thing is going to turn out. I'll just tell you right now, it's gonna be weird. It's gonna be silly. Anyway, but I was at page 53 last I looked at it, and I started working on it again over the weekend. I think maybe I picked it up on Saturday, and as of this morning, I'm on page 89. And
Wow.
I wrote 17 pages in one day. I just started like really blowing through it. This is how I work.
That's awesome, man.
I'll fall off of a thing and I'll come back to it and I'll get in a trance and it just comes out. And there it is. And so, anyway, I'm very excited about it. And I mentioned that to say that I want to do the same super chat goal that I did a little while ago. Now that I'm really hip deep in this, and the super chat winner tonight. So whoever is at the top with the super chats tonight will get their username in the script. And assuming that something doesn't happen to me and we shoot the film, your name will be in the movie, and not just credits. It'll be actually in a scene. I can't tell you where, but it will appear on screen somewhere in the film. So super chat winner tonight. We've already got one person that has that, so you'll be the second person whose username will be in the movie. We are doing Geekvolution After Dark tonight, just Brandon and I. Austin is on vacation, and I don't have any plan for it. Brandon and I haven't talked in a while, so we're just gonna sit down and have a fun conversation and chat with you about whatever you guys on Patreon want to talk about or whatever comes to our minds. So it's gonna be, kind of like an old fly on the wall thing, like Eric and I used to do on Patreon. Patreon.com/Geekvolution, just the $2 tier gets you access to that if you want to watch it live or if you want to watch it after the fact. We haven't done one in a while, and apologies to the patrons for that. I also want to mention real quick that Patreon had this really weird glitch last month. DJ, this company, I mean, I really appreciate them because they help put food on my table, but Patreon has some of the oddest website issues that I've seen from anything. Like, anything that can go wrong does go wrong. It's sort of like Paramount Plus, but I like them more as a company, certainly, and even as a service. I've had issues with them in the past where I can't get a post written on my phone. I think that's been fixed, but for a long time, if you wrote more than a certain word count, it just froze up and you couldn't type anymore. Like, just really strange problems for, the 2020s that you don't have with any other website. Well, they had an issue last month where, and I don't understand this exactly. I'm not sure what really happened, so I don't want to get into it. But all of a sudden, the day that I was supposed to get paid, the day that everybody's cards were supposed to be charged, we lost like, I don't know, 15 patrons, and
Whoa.
The dollar amount from and there's always like a few decline charges, so you never get exactly what your number is month to month, and like that's understandable. You expect those losses, but it's usually like 3 or 4. This time it was like 15, and I was like, oh, it's weird. It's like July, nobody's got any money. Like everybody either jumped ship, and like I never mean to sound ungrateful. I really appreciate everybody that has ever helped us out in any way financially, Patreon or Super Chat or otherwise. So this is not me saying like, how dare people quit being patrons or even jump ship right before your card gets hit. Like maybe people just don't have the money that month and they'll come back later or not at all, whatever. But I bring this up to say, in case you are a patron and you haven't checked Patreon in a while and you still want to be a patron, go make sure that you're still subscribed there, because they had this really weird glitch that had something to do with a third party, I guess, that they work with that dropped a bunch of people and declined their cards all across Patreon. So it hit everybody. And I mean, we were like, $90, $100 down from what it said we should be at, and like I said, we lost like 15 patrons. So if that happened to you, don't worry about it. I'm not worried about the money. But if you want to be a patron, and you may not be right now, because it still says we're at 66 total patrons, and we had somewhere close to 80 right before that happened. So anyway, just wanted to make sure folks knew about that, because it was a really weird thing that happened, and I feel bad for especially people that this is their livelihood and rely on it, and that have a larger Patreon following than I do, because that might have really cut into some folks' bottom lines. That whole thing was really strange. Anyway, I wanted to bring that up. Tomorrow night, we're doing a Superhero Rewind commentary for the Commentary Project. Kareem is filling in for Austin, and we're going to be watching and talking about just one animated movie this time, so it'll be a shorter one. We're doing the DC direct-to-video Justice League Gods and Monsters, which is kind of a fan favorite now, and that came out all the way back in 2015, which is shocking, because that feels a lot more recent than that, but it was 8 years ago somehow. And Kareem I don't think has ever been on a commentary outside of a 24-hour stream, so it'll be a lot of fun to do that with him. So anyway, that's all the news. Oh, and also Sunday, sorry, this is yet another super lengthy preamble. Sunday, these are just town hall meetings at this point. Sunday, I'm going to do a review for the new Ninja Turtles movie. I've not seen it yet. I'm going to try to see it Saturday or Sunday during the day, so it'll probably be an evening review. I don't have a time set yet, because I got to figure out when I'm going to go see the movie, but I've not been yet. Mutant Mayhem. I'm going to review that on Sunday, and it'll be either just me solo or me and Jason. Nobody else was available for this one. Dan was supposed to be there, but he's busy and wasn't able to go, unfortunately. But he hates missing that. He and I have done the other Turtles movies together, but he and I are going to do something real soon. He hit me up after he told me he couldn't make it, and he was like, but put me on something soon, because I want to be on a video. And I was like, don't worry, Dan, we'll get you in for something.
You missed your chance, Dan. You're out.
Out, am I? Anyway, that's all the news. Also, next Tuesday,
Cut the check.
I'm supposed to be getting my new, speaking of Ninja Turtles, my black and white Mirage Ninja Turtles tattoo on my left leg, in the same place where my Bubbles tattoo is on my other leg. And I'm very excited about that, and I'll show it to you guys when I get it done. But anyway, DJ.
All right. Shall I give you a reprieve? Oh, no, you still got to talk about the...
Yeah, well, here's our real quick lead-in topic. So, sorry, I guess I just had a lot of news and stuff to bring up. I don't know, we only do one of these a week now, and it always feels like a million years in between.
Yeah, well, this is the first time in a long time we've done 2 in a row, so we're doing good.
Is that true? Yeah, because I was out a lot of July.
Yeah, July was a Captain Logan-less month for me. It's very sad.
Yeah, I'm sure people appreciated it. Okay, this comes from Deadline. The opposite of what I thought the headline was tonight. Wonder Woman 3 not in the works at DC despite Gal Gadot's comments. I want to say, obviously, well, duh, of course. But I had that split-second moment. It's sort of like, DJ, when you're watching a movie, like let's say Dark Knight, and it looks for a second like you've killed off a major character, like Commissioner Gordon, and you go, there's no way they killed Commissioner Gordon. And you get that sinking feeling where you're like, but what if they did? What if they did kill off Commissioner Gordon? This is the same thing, except not with a death, but with a resurrection of sorts, and it would have been a really, really weird one. So I'm going to read some more of this article. There are no plans for a Wonder Woman 3 at Warner Brothers DC Studios. Deadline has confirmed with sources. Oh, good. I always trust that with sources. Okay, so your last source that Wonder Woman 3 was happening was Gal Gadot herself on Twitter, and then for a magazine interview, I guess, with comicbook.com. And I have and then with something called Flaunt Magazine. So she was just making the rounds, going, oh no, I've talked with Gunn and Safran, and they've said, don't worry, we're making Wonder Woman 3, even though we were told not too long ago that's definitely not happening. Their source was Gal Gadot in multiple interviews. This time their source that it's not happening is sources, and yet I trust the ambiguous sources on this because it never made any sense. I also don't know if Deadline actually reported, or Variety, or any of the big outlets. I don't know if any of them actually reported in the first place that this was happening. But anyway, Wonder Woman star Gal Gadot got the internet all excited with comments she made in a pre-SAG after its strike interview with comicbook.com for the Netflix movie Heart of Stone. I don't know what that is. I don't know if anybody's excited about that. That she was developing a threequel with Gunn and Safran. She further emphasized those statements in another sit-down with Flaunt magazine. And this is quoting her. I was invited, to a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran. And what they told me, and I'm quoting, "You're in the best hands. We're going to develop Wonder Woman 3 with you. We love you as Wonder Woman. You got nothing to worry about. So time will tell." Again, that thumbnail could have been "I'm so confused." Still, because I'm so confused. So, why would she just, lie and claim that if it didn't happen? If they told her that, why did they tell her that? Did they change their mind at some point? Was there for a second a thought of doing out-of-continuity movies that would wrap up the Snyderverse? They are sort of doing a little bit of, it sounds like, with the Amanda Waller project and with Peacemaker Season 2 and stuff like that, because those will not be in DCU proper. And Gunn finally took to Twitter recently and quelched all the rumors about those things somehow being in the new DCU proper. He said, no, that's all, from the old continuity. We are rebooting after that. It's bizarre. This whole thing is bizarre, but it's bizarre.
I love it. I love the chaos at this point.
That he waited, so first of all, is it possible that they were thinking about maybe doing some of that stuff, and then they decided it was time to just rip the Band-Aid off? Why would they tell her that, but immediately, right after they got the job, say, no, we're not doing a Man of Steel 2, sorry, Henry Cavill, it's not happening. And then, if this was always untrue, and if somehow, I don't know, she heard them wrong, they're having lunch, they're eating burritos or whatever, and James Gunn is like, oh, you have nothing to worry about, chew, 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 and while he's chewing, she hears, we're making Wonder Woman 3, and what he actually said was, you've got a career, they'll get cast in other things. On your feet. Yeah, don't worry about it. Or maybe he said, we're wanting to recast a lot of you guys as other characters down the line. Don't worry, we have a plan for you. That's also possible. We don't know that for sure. There are all those rumors about Lobo that, more Aquaman wasn't going to happen, but he was going to get Lobo. We still don't know if there's any truth to any of that. And, anyway, if it was never true, forget whatever was said at that lunch. This has been going on for a while now. Why does it take Gunn so long to respond to any of this stuff?
It usually doesn't. He usually goes on the same day and responds to people on his Twitter. I don't know what's going on.
Except for, major continuity questions. Because it took months for him to finally say, oh no, the Amanda Waller thing and Peacemaker 2 and all of that, none of that is in the new continuity. It starts over with Superman Legacy. Why did it take him so long to say that? And why would it take him this long to refute Gal Gadot now? I don't get it. But again, I don't have as much to say as I thought I was going to when I thought this was happening, because I have even more questions with that. I think you are potentially, maybe not tanking the whole thing, especially if Superman Legacy is good, but you're getting off on really the wrong foot with, it's hard to say how big of a number of your base, but there are more people that are upset about the Henry Cavill thing than there are actual Snyder obsessed fanboys with not everybody that says you should have given Henry Cavill one more movie or release the Snyder Cut people. So there's definitely more of them. As I've said before, it's hard to say how many in the grand scheme, like are really, you know, out because of this. How many people would like boycott it or like are not interested at all if he's not playing Superman? There are some of those people, of course. It's hard to say how many of them are that extreme, but are there enough of them that would hurt your bottom line if you kept Gal Gadot and nobody else? I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly, for my part, glad this isn't happening because, as I've said 1,000 times, I wanted a full-on reboot. I didn't want Henry Cavill back, but if she was coming back, especially if it was for just one more Wonder Woman movie in the same continuity, I'd say, well, yeah, Henry Cavill should definitely get that too. And even Affleck, if he wanted it. He wouldn't, but if he did,
let Affleck rest.
You know, maybe let the three of them do a Trinity thing or something. Whatever. Give them all a project. If you're doing that with her, like, yeah, that's stupid. That's not fair. But if you're doing a full-on reboot where you're getting rid of all of that continuity, let's not have that baggage. And even if it was casting her as if she's the only person that could play Wonder Woman, as if we were really looking at a Christopher Reeve sort of situation here. And even with that, it's not like he's the only person that could play Superman. It's almost said Wonder Woman. It's not like he's the only person that could play Superman. It's just that at the time he was certainly Superman. As much as I like that first Wonder Woman movie, I never felt that way about her.
Yeah, I would have been more prone to say that after the first one, but not after the second one.
Yeah, and then she's had all these cameos that have been embarrassing. Like, I can't get excited just with all that baggage. So even if she played a new iteration in that continuity, which I was gonna say when I thought this was still happening, I guess I'm just making all those points anyway. When I thought this was still happening, 40 minutes ago, I was gonna say it would be hard to believe a Wonder Woman 3 and more believable that he just decided for whatever reason that she needs to keep playing the character and that it was still a reboot but with her at the helm. I would not, or in the costume, I would not have wanted that. It would be a lot better to just let those guys have one more movie if you have to, but that's also really, really not smart from a synergy perspective, from a company perspective, especially given that Flash didn't perform and that you still have a couple more movies that you're stuck with, like Blue Beetle, which will make $9, and I will be one of 14 people that sees it, and only obligatorily because people expect me to review these things. Oh, it's so funny to go to the theater and see I went to the theater the other day to see Oppenheimer, and there was a popcorn bucket and like novelty cups and plushes, and I was like, plushes, DJ. I was like, nobody's buying this stuff. It's not gonna happen. And that really cracked me up. So
I gotta get one of those cups for the show because that's my shtick.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to waste the money to go in there and actually buy all of that just to get a picture of me sitting in the theater decked out like a huge Blue Beetle fan. Like, I can't wait for this movie.
Yes, please do.
Should I do that?
Get Jason to take a photo of you just like, yeah!
It would cost me like $100 probably.
It's worth it. Worth it for the gram.
Anyway, so it would have been more nuts if this was still happening. And again, even though it's just sources, I believe it.
She still needs to get her cameo in Blue Beetle to complete, and Aquaman to just complete the whole year.
I really and I hope that they're horribly not thinly veiled sexual innuendo again. I hope that she shows up to just smile and be awkward and leave, and for men to gawk at her, and then she leaves because that's all they've been. Oh, it's embarrassing.
Let her go out with some dignity. Let her just appear in Aquaman. I don't know what she would do in Aquaman, just swim around.
Yeah, or get drunk with him, because that's all we do with him. He just gets drunk all the time.
That'd be good. That'd be fun. Just put that actor and the Thor actor together, because they seem like they would just have a good time. That's all they both want to do.
Yeah. So this was
Chris Hemsworth. I don't know why I called him the Thor actor.
Surreal experiences I've had putting a show together, where I was typing the title. In fact, I don't know if anybody saw it. I had the title in the title box. for what the show was originally supposed to be, and it changed in about 2 minutes because I went to get the article, and the article had been updated. Oh, it's not happening. I think I said Gal Gadot is still Wonder Woman ? And I think the name I went with is Gal Gadot is not still Wonder Woman. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the proverbial phones, DJ. Let's chat about anything that has to do with this topic, and then anything else you guys want to talk about after that. We'll take a break at the hour. We will go for a second hour as we usually do. And once again, tonight's top super chatter will get their username, their YouTube handle, whatever it is within reason, in the Superhero Rewind movie, which I am writing, and I am dangerously close to the end of a first draft up.
Oh, I hope it's Crafton Logan.
You hear that, Crafton Logan? DJ's trying to get you to leave super chats again.
Or I hope it's Here's $5, because that would be easy to actually work in.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be a funny reference.
I may have a hard time not putting Here's $5 in there anyway, but...
That's true. First super chat of the night, taking the lead is T-Edge1, $10. With the writers and actors strike, is it time to switch to paying them if they sell/rent a series and per so many views? Example, per 1,000 views instead of a syndication. You guys rock.
No, I don't think that would be remotely sustainable because streaming doesn't make any money. And that's a lot of the problem right now is there just aren't residuals for streaming services. There can't be. There's no money in it. It sucks. I mean, I think we were led to believe for a long time that at some point these things would start turning a profit, and they really haven't been. It seemed like Netflix was making money for a while, but I'd have to go back and look at what little numbers they've reported and see what was really going on with them. But Disney Plus has lost, at last report that I read, $12 billion.
Yeah, streaming has not panned out to be the big new kid on the block that everyone thought it was going to be. It is a sinkhole for money for everybody, like across the board.
Which means the only way that you can get anything on the back end is if your movie goes to the theater. And or as you said, Tom, if you get anything syndicated on television, which doesn't really mean much anymore because that doesn't get the viewership it used to, obviously. I mean, like a fraction of a percent of what it used to get.
Yeah, and you can't even really get percentages on physical copy sales now because that's a fraction of what it used to be.
Yeah, and make no mistake, you do still get that. It just isn't worth anything anymore.
Yeah, it's not.
There are still residuals for that.
Yeah. This just they streaming killed everything else, and then streaming's not profitable. So.
And how do you go back? Can you put the genie back in the bottle?
I don't know. You've already trained users for over 10 years to.
That's right.
To not take any of this stuff seriously or have any lasting effect. It's just. You watch it once and then it disappears into the ether. That's
it. And with video games too. You've trained them, and with everything. I mean, with music, with everything. You've trained us all to want things to be, as you say, DJ, disposable, and to not. We've changed the definition of ownership, or we've made it. I used to say that. I'm going to actually amend that. I used to say we've changed the definition of ownership to people now owning something means paying full price for it and it living on a server somewhere that at any point somebody could unplug or a company could go under, and then you never have access to it anymore. So it is not real ownership. It is the illusion of ownership. You're paying full price for access and pretending like it's ownership. It's even worse than that now, though, because I think we've conditioned people even beyond that to not care about owning anything, to not even care about having access to it for anywhere after the first time or two that they watch it, right? And again, that's even worse with video games, where I think people more kind of expect movies will always be available somewhere, like somebody, even if you have to rent it, like somebody will have it streaming online. Now, that's not true for everything. It is true for most things. In some way or another, the majority of things on Amazon or YouTube or wherever else, if it's not streaming with a subscription, careful to not say for free. You're still paying for it. If it's not available with subscription, you can usually pay $2, $3, $4 or buy it for a lot more than that at another service, Amazon, YouTube, whatever. There are certainly a lot of exceptions to that. With video games, there are, I think people are more and more getting conditioned that once a console cycle is done, you're just not even supposed to want to play it anymore. Like, video games don't matter once you get to the next installment, the next iteration, and particularly the next phase of gaming.
Yeah, that's even more so with movies, because it's like, well, why would you want to? That's an old one. That's old. Graphics are better now. Like, of course you don't want to play that old one. Like, we don't have that as much with film. I mean, we do.
Thank
it
goodness.
Just takes longer. Because it takes longer for trends to change in film, but they change every couple years in video games.
Well, and we're starting to see a lot more cloud gaming and stuff. The expectation is that eventually we're not going to be downloading games digitally anymore, and we're going to just stream them like we do with movies and things. That's been going on with movies and television for well over a decade now. More than that, but I mean as the norm, right? Well over a decade now. And so for a long time, people have, I think, incorrectly expected that they could go on Netflix or wherever and watch anything they want to watch. And I've talked to a lot of people that had this shattering disillusionment at one point that, oh, Netflix is never going to have everything that ever existed. Yeah, no kidding. That was never in the cards. That was never going to happen. It was really clear to me early on, especially when Amazon Prime happened, and then other companies started cutting out the middleman, that there was going to be competition for that, and that Netflix wasn't going to win all the bids, and they weren't going to have contracts with every company forever to stream everything. Wouldn't that have been nice? They also would have been a monopoly, and they could have charged you the same price that you're paying or more that you're paying for cable, and people would have ultimately ended up paying it because they wouldn't have another option. So that would have been bad in its own way as well. But in some ways, that's better than what we have right now.
Yeah,
it is
interesting.
It is a cluster at this point. Nobody's making any money. There's
no way out. Like the actors are demanding. The actors are demanding. But I mean, and yes, I think they are in the right to do so, but the studios don't have a lot of money to give them. Like, they can't even meet their demands.
Where's it going to come from? Well, and I hear people say, the studios are penny pinching. Clearly, they have the money to pay these people better wages, to give them more on the back end. They just choose not to. And then I see Disney just lost $12 billion with Disney Plus, and every movie they put out this year has bombed. Every single movie, besides a couple Marvel things that Disney has put out this year, have bombed.
Yeah, man, they're in trouble. I need them to straighten things out. Like, I call myself a Disney fan, but it's hard. I can't even be an apologist at this point. Like, they're not putting out anything good anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been a fan of them as a company for a good long time. I'm a fan of a lot of things they own that they've run into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and you got the people who are right when they say, like, the CEOs of these companies make like 400 times the next person these days, where, as in, like, the 60s, they made like 10 times. So yeah, of course, but like, I don't know how that changes anytime. That's just the structure. That is
absolutely true, and there's a debate to be had about that, and I agree that, especially when you watch them fail. And this is true with retail chains and lots of other places. You go, okay, you're running this company into the ground, and yet you still own, like, a $2 million home and, like, friggin' yachts, and it doesn't seem to add up. It seems like you're somehow scamming the company you work for to, like, it's a dictionary definition of failing upward.
Yeah.
I don't really understand that.
However,
possible
degree.
At the same time, it's not like even the wages that those CEOs are getting. You talk about Zaslav, you talk about Iger, would be enough to float those companies. It would be enough to make even one of these tentpole blockbuster movies.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's tough, man. You need like a total overhaul of the whole industry. It's almost like the whole industry needs to crash, and then we just have movie theaters for a little bit, because movie theaters are picking back up while all this is happening. Like, it's going to be like the old days where movies are just in the theater, and then you have to wait till the next one comes out, because it's really strange how that's doing well, and we're having like one of the biggest years since before COVID right now. But then everything at the home video is just terrible.
Yeah, like nobody should ever listen to any prediction I ever make, because I didn't call this right around COVID at all. It just looked like during the lockdowns there was a good chance that people were going to get used to not going to the theater, and sort of like not wanting to actually have to go to the office for work, because a lot of people realized they didn't really have to. They'd go, well, I mean, do I really want to sit in a movie theater with a bunch of loud, smelly people dropping their popcorn everywhere? And some of that was true. I mean, that definitely hurt theaters for a while, and it has, and I think it's accurate to say, tell me if you disagree with this, DJ, that moviegoers have been more choosy about what they go to see. So there has been a pickup this year. You're right, but it's been because of a select few movies. The majority of what's come out has still not done real well. It's still not done even projected numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's the hope, is like, hopefully people get a little more discernible with their dollars, and they don't just shove everything that studios put out into their face holes or into their eye holes and just drop money on everything. I want there to be a little disparity again in the box office.
Well, and I think ultimately, to get back around to what we usually talk about, I think that's going to help superhero movies in the long run, because you have people still worried to death about superhero fatigue, but I think it'll help the cream to rise to the top, and you'll have fewer of them, which would be good, because most of them are formulaic and dull and not really worth watching, or at least a lot of people feel that way about them, and I'm certainly in that camp with stuff, and I love superhero movies. I've devoted a lot of my time in my life to superhero movies, but I'm just calling it like I'm seeing it. That's what's been happening with MCU and with DC especially. Well, I want to say until recently, just with the Batman and Joker and stuff.
Dude,
but for the most part, it absolutely has been that way. And I think when you see let me finish this point real quick.
Yeah.
What you'll see happen is you'll have to have more thoughtful and unusual, different kinds of movies that people actually go see, because the ones that look like they're written by AI or Reddit are bombing.
Yeah.
Ones that look like everything else.
Or maybe a fun superhero movie. What a concept.
Yeah.
Maybe why...
Yes, but that's still thoughtful. It takes a little thought to make it fun. It does. You gotta be creative. When I say thoughtful, I don't mean it has to be super deep. I don't even mean it has to be about anything. It just has to be entertaining. Can we put the entertainment first? Especially for friggin' superhero movies? Can we put the entertainment first?
Yeah, that should be a given. But
it isn't.
We should move on, but
yes.
And I don't know if you've seen any episodes of this yet, but everything I've heard about Secret Invasion sounds like it is a new low in MCU, which I didn't even think was possible.
I saw the first 25 minutes and turned it off, and I've not gone back to it.
Terrible. My gosh.
But that is what I have heard as well.
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay, do you see anything else about that initial lead-in topic? The non-lead-in topic that we somehow wrote out as long as we did?
No, people were just kind of in the same place as you, just kind of confused. And then they started leaving other super chats.
How does Gunn not immediately come out after, like, the magazine article and be like, yeah, we don't really know what she's talking about?
We did get one about Gunn, super chat about Gunn, so we can go into that one.
Yeah.
Goofster123, who has taken the lead with a $20 super chat.
Hey,
here.
wow, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate it.
What are the odds Gunn gets a Challengers of the Unknown movie made before Marvel casts its Fantastic Four? I was honestly hoping for it on his slate. It feels like the perfect type of thing for him to do.
I did not go on record and predict this when we did that initial speculation cast, but I had that thought that maybe that would be one of the announcements, and it wasn't. But yeah, I absolutely think that can happen, especially because I could see Marvel in retooling and scrambling, and I mean Marvel is kind of looks like they could
run real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. DJ's got something going on. Marvel looks like it could be in a similar place that DC was, interestingly, right after BVS, when they were doing a lot of damage control and going back to the drawing board. And so I could see them putting off a lot of their projects, including Fantastic Four, and give Gunn more time to make that movie. And wouldn't it be crazy? Sort of like they're getting Captain Marvel out before you saw, or sorry, I'm trying to remember what the timeline was now. I was gonna say they're getting out Captain Marvel before Wonder Woman. That didn't happen. No, I guess the whole thing I was always talking about was how weird it was. Pardon me, that Marvel was getting really obscure stuff out before DC even got a Wonder Woman thing out. But it would be really weird if they got Challengers of the Unknown out and then people liked it and really bought into it, and then Fantastic Four looked like a ripoff of that. That would be really super strange. But no, I don't know what point I was trying to make with the female thing. I guess. Oh, I know. I know what my deal always was with that. It was weird that Marvel didn't beat DC to the punch for having a solo female superhero before Wonder Woman, considering they had Black Widow, and people were kind of clamoring for that. That's what it was. Like, they could have gotten ahead of that, and then Wonder Woman maybe wouldn't have been as big of a deal for people. But I am kind of glad that happened, because Wonder Woman is a more popular and also more important female comic book character than any female character Marvel had access to. Or probably at all, really. But anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, DJ threw me off when he had to run off there.
So sorry. My daughter's bedroom is above me, and she fell out of bed, and I heard her hit the ground. So I had to run up and make sure she was okay.
Is she good?
Yeah, she's fine.
Goodness.
All right, next super chat, John Ty.
I will say real quick, by the way, that I don't know a lot about Challengers of the Unknown. I always think of that as just DC's Fantastic Four, but it is a really early property, and when Amalgam was blending DC and Marvel things, they naturally blended those two teams, and they were Challengers of the Fantastic. But that's the thing I should look into at some point. There was a joke about that in the Teen Titans Go to the Movies movie. That was one of the few actually really funny things in that. Anyway.
All right. Well, John Ty gives us $2 and says, "Are you going to review Oppenheimer?"
No, I've decided not to. I did see it and liked it fine. I felt like I needed another viewing to really talk about it very intelligently, and I just am not going to have a chance. I'm not going to have the time to do that. So maybe sometime after it comes out on video, I'll finally weigh in on it, or maybe down the road we'll do some kind of discussion or commentary or something with that. But yeah, I decided to just skip the whole Barbenheimer thing ultimately for the channel. But I would recommend that movie, Oppenheimer. It's good. I thought it was louder than it needed to be, but being a Nolan movie, I guess I'm not super surprised by that.
Not surprised. Was the dialogue more intelligible?
Yes, I understood what people were saying most of the time.
Well, that's an improvement.
It did still have the the audio balance problem in places, I thought, but nothing like as bad as the last time, his last movie.
Well, his last few movies have been. Did you see Tenet? I didn't even see Tenet.
Yes, I did, and it was hard to look at.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead to his other one real quick because it pertains to that, and then I'll come back and get your others. But yeah, John Ty also put in, and you kind of just answered it, $5. Thoughts on Barbie and Oppenheimer's box office success? We kind of talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How surprised are you that that happened the way it did? Just that they were like so massive.
I know it's breaking everyone's bracket. Like nobody had Barbie at number one. So it's surprising that they're doing as well as they're doing. That was just because of the cultural like juggernaut that like meme mentality became. And
yeah.
And I like it. I like that most of that was people not being jerks and like forming sides for once and saying, I'm going to watch this one and you guys want this one's for you and this one's for me. But most of the people involved were like, let's go see both. Let's make an event out of it. Let's do a double feature. I think it's good for the community. I liked it quite a bit. I thought for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of crap that's coming out of after the fact, but I like that.
And I don't want to get into that.
But... Yeah, whatever. That's more what I was expecting from the internet, but I like the whole camaraderie community aspect of it that was going on for a couple weeks. That was fun. I wish I had been able to partake in that. I only got to see one of them. I didn't do the double feature, but that would have been fun.
It's hard to say what the aftermath of that will be ultimately, going in both directions.
Yeah, and they're learning all the wrong lessons, of course. Oh, the secret is we need more Mattel toy movies.
Right.
No, that's not the secret. You cracked it.
Now I'm fine with some movies based on some of those toys because if you're creative about it, some of that could be really fun. I really don't mind that, and I think some of those things are certainly movie worthy. And it is time for a good He-Man movie, but that is in another category where it's like, well, I mean, there are stories based on that. You know what I mean? Like, just like with, I almost said Ninja Turtles. That is a story first, but for the majority of the world, it was a toy first. But with a show that was just selling the toy, but like, you know, Transformers has cool stories. It just happened to start as a toy. Same thing with He-Man, but then, you know, once you go Magic 8 Ball the movie, I'm like. You could do a cool thing with the Magic 8 Ball in it. Like, why don't you just make, instead of a Mattel universe, shared or otherwise, why don't you just make one movie that's a Mattel movie where you take a bunch of your toys and you put them all in one universe and you do something really creative with it where you have like a hero that carries around a Magic 8 Ball and he uses it to solve crimes and you know
he's like Two-Face, but he uses that.
Yeah, you have a character that can't make any decisions without looking at his Magic 8 Ball first. Like you could have and same thing with like the Viewmaster, because that's supposed to get a movie all by itself. Just the Viewmaster movie. What the hell is that? That's ridiculous. But movie with that stuff, sure.
I think you should remake Cabin in the Woods, except all the artifacts in the basement are all Mattel toys that summon the creatures that come kill you.
Well, at that point you're getting it almost like a Goosebumps plays.
Yeah. Hey, the more Goosebumps in my life, the better.
Yeah, but I mean, that kind of worked. That was all right. Just do that with Mattel. But then they can't milk it for all it's worth. They can't have... They can't try to
get a movie
turn
for every single one.
Yeah, they can't try to turn it into the next phenomenon like superhero movies,
where
they can put out 3 a year.
And then it's going to bomb, and then they're going to stop and cancel all their plans like they always do.
Yeah, just like Dark Universe.
Yeah, just like every time they try these things.
Yeah, what will the first one be? I wonder. Because, yeah, you can't expect it to all blow up the universe like Barbie did. That was a big deal for a bunch of different reasons, and that was one of those kind of weird kismet things.
Yeah.
Where it was huge. And a lot of that was because of advertising, but also because, like with the advertising, they hit a lot of the same itches that the Lego movie did. And it didn't turn out to be as much like that as people thought it was going to be. But then however you feel about the politics with that movie, and I don't want to get into any of that stuff, but when you, because I'm just not interested in having that conversation. But
Yeah.
when you get into the politics and the feminism and all of that stuff with that movie, that was, however you feel about that, that was also one of the things that led certain people to the theater as well. So it was a combination of a bunch of things, and for better or worse, actually brought a bunch of different kinds of people that would never agree on anything together to the movie theater.
Yeah.
That absolutely happened.
And it was,
And they were all seeing a different movie, but that's definitely what happened.
Yeah, and it had really, really good word of mouth. It was just a fun movie, a fun time that people, for whatever reason, like, yeah. It really...
Or at least it looked like it was going to be. Because, I mean, some people did not have that experience with it, certainly. And,
okay. It's like, I had a really fun time with it. It's up there with, well, I think I still put Spider-Verse above it. I had a really fun time.
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it opening weekend. I saw it that Thursday, I think. Or Friday. Whenever that was. It feels like forever ago already.
Okay, well, I'm not going to get into it, and I don't want to dance around it, and I decided not to review it, but I saw it, and I thought it was awful.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I really, really disliked it, and I'm not interested in getting into it, but I just didn't want to. It was one of those things I did not feel like reviewing after I saw it.
Oh, dang. I'm sorry, man.
But, yeah, there's some fun things in that, but overall, that did not come together for me, and I thought that script was rough.
All right. Let's see. Back to Disney, I guess. The Great and Powerful Dodd, $1.99. Apple possibly buying Disney. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's a rumor going around. I don't want to talk about that too much until anything comes of it at all. What I'm hearing is that it wouldn't be Apple buying Disney out outright, but just the movie division, because, I mean, we think of it as just a movie company, but it's a lot of other things. And their movies have not been profitable lately, and for a while. Like, it's not just the streaming thing, it's just their movies. People aren't seeing them. And so I could see that happening, but we'll just have to see what happens with it. It will be a weird world when that happens.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll be talking about it constantly.
It's a weird world after all.
It is. It really is.
Imagine if you had told yourself 10 years ago that someone was going to buy Disney. After 10 years ago, Disney was buying everything on the planet. Your mind wouldn't even be able to handle that.
Plushie DX says that rumor keeps coming up every few years. Yeah, and there was that rumor for a while that Disney was going to buy Warner Brothers. I don't think Disney's buying anything for a while.
No, Disney needs to have a yard sale.
They need to have a yard sale, and they need to sell Lucasfilm at the yard sale, and
to the highest bidder of a few $1 million. That's it.
DJ, let's answer one more question.
All right, we got another one from the Great and Powerful Dodd for $4.99. You're frustrated with Marvel and DC Comics, but I feel like you'd be more satisfied with more indie titles. Mark Millar's The Ambassadors is wonderful.
Yeah, I've been hearing there's some cool stuff going on in the indie scene. And maybe at some point I'll jump back into some of those things and try to check them out. The problem is I have a hard time. This is just a me thing, and it's not fair. It's just where I'm at with stuff. If DC and Marvel and the new DC, we just did a video about a week ago on DC's new slate, and I actually liked some things there. Most of it not enough to keep going with it right now. Maybe eventually I'll go back and look at some of that stuff. But like they're heading in the right direction, I think. But if I don't care about at least one of the big two enough to read a few of their books on a month-to-month basis, it's hard for me to get excited about the comic industry in general, because I start in a superhero place, and I have loved non-superhero comics, and it's a medium that it took me a little while doing the channel before I really appreciated it as a medium for anything other than superheroes, and I do have that now, but I kind of just have a hard time even paying attention to the industry and really caring if some of my favorite things aren't making stuff that I'm really engaged with and constantly reading. So that's why I don't know about some of that stuff and why I haven't really kept on.
Yeah,
But it's not fair. It's just how I feel about it.
Yeah, I've never been able to. There's a couple things over the years that have been interesting to me, but I've never been able to get into comics for non-superhero reasons either. Like, there's that one who wrote Sex Criminals.
Sex Criminals is. I mean, I know that.
That sounded interesting to me. Yeah, but I can never get into it either. I can't even get into superhero comics. So who am I joking?
Yeah, I'm forgetting because it's been so long. Sex Criminals is a 10-year-old book now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Fraction. That's Fraction.
Oh, and I like his stuff. I should have checked that out, but
yeah. I mean, it's still there. You can still read it.
That's true.
And another thing is, it's hard for me to. I mean, I don't mean just make excuses, but I don't read a lot of stuff just for me anymore that I'm not reviewing, and so a lot of indie stuff I just don't expect enough of our audience to really care about reviews for, and so it's hard to prioritize looking at them because I'm going to want to talk about them, and then that's like a 200 viewed video, and it's hard to prioritize those things.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Great and Powerful Dodd, the Ambassadors is superhero. Yeah, but when I say super, I mean, I don't go, oh boy, there's a new superhero thing everybody's talking about, and then like rush off and read that. I'll look at other like indie things that I've not heard of if I'm in comics in general because of stuff I'm already into. You see what I'm saying? There was that. What's his name? The guy that started the Boom Power Rangers comics went off and did his own Power Rangers-esque thing. I've been really curious about that, and I haven't looked at that yet either. That's an Image, but I need to do that. Those suits look really cool.
Cool.
We are right at an hour. We're going to go ahead and go on our break now, and we'll see you in about 3.5 minutes, folks. Then we'll come back for part 2 of the Captain Logan Show, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in a bit. Welcome back, everybody, for part 2 of the second half of the Captain Logan show, I should say. And it's time for more questions. DJ, how many super chats do we have right now?
We have only got 2, sir, so the floodgates are open.
Oh, cool. We've about caught up. Dan Torrey is in the chat. Hi, Dan. Good to see you, man.
Oh, hey, Dan.
I want to remind everybody that Geekvolution After Dark starts shortly after the Captain Logan show tonight, and actually earlier than we usually do it, because we don't have Austin tonight, so we don't have to wait until 10 o'clock like we usually do. So we'll be starting not right at 9 o'clock, because we'll probably be just wrapping up here around that time. But 15, 20 minutes after that. So patreon.com/Geekvolution if you want to join us for that show. And again, that's just going to be me and Brandon tonight. Just the two of us chatting about whatever comes to mind, honestly. We don't have a plan for that tonight. We haven't talked in a long time. And we're just going to kind of hang out with you guys. And it should be a blast. DJ, what else do you see, man?
What do I see? Let me tell you what I see. You want to see what I see? Let me see here. Remix 36720.
You know what? I haven't gonged this whole show.
Gong remix.
How have I forgotten about it? Last show, I did my due diligence, man.
You were on top of it last
I was
show.
on top of the gong. This is a gong for everybody that has left a super chat so far. Thanks, everybody. And this is a gong for the super chat that you just read. That I need you to read again because I don't remember what it was. I didn't hear it. I didn't really hear it. Go ahead.
This gong goes out to all of you who've ever left a super chat. This is from Remix 36720. Yeah. Would you do a request on a movie script, specifically Trevorrow's unmade SWIX script? That would be Star Wars 9. It's complete and very different from The Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know if I want to open the floodgates with that. I like to give definitive answers on the Captain Logan show, but I need to noodle that one a little bit because there's a little bit of a loophole in there. I only have so much time in my week to get things prepared for stuff like the request, and I try to keep it to just movies and comics and TV pilots for that reason. It takes a little bit longer to read a film script, and this is the reason that I don't do novels and things anymore either. I'd really like to do that. Maybe eventually I will, but at the moment, I have left that off the table. So let me noodle it. Let me think about it, because that is a precedent. I don't know if I want to set, because I'm afraid that all of a sudden a bunch of people are going to send unmade scripts, and I really want to do more of that for superhero things. I've been wanting to do a superhero rewind unscripted series on some of those, and I haven't gotten to it. But yeah, let me think about it, because I'm tempted to say yes, but I know I should say no.
All right, next up, from another one from Great and Powerful Dodd.
Yeah.
Which puts him at $12 already tonight, so he's closing in on Goofster for the lead.
And for anybody that missed that, anybody that's just come in, the top super chatter tonight gets their YouTube name, their handle in the Superhero Rewind movie script, and not just credits. It will show up in a scene, and I am dangerously close to finishing the first draft of that script.
Okay, yeah. If we don't get Nick Cage, Thomas Jane, and Wesley Snipes in Deadpool 3, we riot.
That wasn't like a here gong. That was just... I'm trying to keep up with it. You're supposed to get a gong for a super chat. We'll do them at the end now.
We need a different sound for when we disagree with your super chats.
Yeah, I was going to say, I just don't care really what cameos show up in that. I hope it's creative. I hope they have a lot of fun with whatever things they're doing with that. I know somebody mentioned earlier again that Jennifer Garner is supposed to show up again as Elektra in that. I hope that some of those aren't lame and they're just there for 6 seconds and they leave. I hope we actually do some fun things with those characters. And if it is the Deadpool, we've talked about this, but if it is Deadpool running around and killing all the Fox X-Men, or all of the movies in other continuities or just one-off things that Marvel now has the rights to, that would be fun, and I would like to then see as many of those things as possible. So I guess I agree with you if the premise is right. You know what I mean? Yeah, it would be fun to see Punisher show up and shoot Thomas Jane's Punisher. Sorry, what did I say? Deadpool. Did I say Punisher first? It would be cool if Deadpool showed up and killed Thomas Jane Punisher and Ben Affleck Daredevil and all of that stuff. If he's like, well, we gotta wipe the slate clean of all these things because now Disney owns all of this and it has to all be MCU. That could be kind of fun. That's the only way I would really care to see as many of those cameos as possible, though.
Yeah, but they the only way it's going to work is if they're gummy PlayStation 2 graphic versions in the cameos.
No, actually cast them. But then if you bring them in, if you bring in the actual actors, are we gonna... there's just a big question because of the self-referential thing, DJ, because it's self-aware about it all. So... Which is the better way to go for a Deadpool who knows he is in a movie and he knows the cynical business side and all of that? Is it better to bring in those actors and de-age them? Or is it better to let them look like they do now and let Deadpool comment on that while they're not even aware of the fact that they look 20 years older than they used to? Because that could work too.
Or it could be a commentary on how all we do these days is bring back our heroes from the 80s and 90s, but they're old, disgruntled, crappy versions of themselves who just grunt and fall around like Michael Keaton, Batman, and Indiana Jones. And that's all we've been doing.
Yeah.
Is they come back and they suck. Why? No one wants this. Why is this a thing?
No, that's a great point. But if they do that, they have to actually really satirize it cleverly and not make a bad movie and then the wink wink nod nod joke is we know how bad it is.
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be that.
Yeah, because
we keep doing that with stuff. It can't just be that.
No, that's truth. Hear, hear. Hit the gong again.
Yeah, this time that was a hear gong. Dag and Spear, time for another round of
Here
how
today,
many times
gong tomorrow.
Can we kill off Patrick Stewart, Charles Xavier? Again, if we satirize that, I think it could be funny. It's a fine line between this being really gimmicky and obvious and it being really funny and clever. But I could see a scene where Deadpool runs around and kills a bunch of Patrick Stewarts because that character just won't die. Or every time he kills one, it respawns a slightly different version. That could be cool. That could be really funny.
He just goes to the specific scene in Days of Future Past where they're both there together, both actors playing, so that he gets them both in two Captains Kirks. Two Patrick Stewarts in one go, in one stone.
Yeah, it'd be really funny if you had McAvoy and Stewart with their heads centimeters apart from each other. It's we need you to hope again, and then they're just both dead.
And he throws a coin through both of their heads.
Oh, this is why we were in a submarine together.
I would love to see Bullseye from the 03 movie with this Deadpool. He's great. What's his name?
I missed that. What did you say?
I would love to see 03 Bullseye with this Daredevil.
No, that'd be fantastic. And then he's like,
Colin Farrell, that's his name.
Colin Farrell, yeah. No, that would be great.
He's still on the top of his game. He's still incredible to this day.
Can I just say, yeah, and I'm so excited about the Penguin show. Can I just say, if Colin Farrell, he might be about the only one that if he was cast, if we found out he was playing Bullseye, I would get legitimately excited about that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Call me a hypocrite for fanboying about this stuff when I'm usually, probably admittedly acting a little bit too, pretentious about that, but that would get me. We all have those, right? We all have those.
I don't think that's necessarily hypocritical because he would fit in perfectly with the Deadpool movies.
Yeah.
Especially that version of the character.
Well, that's true.
Whereas the other ones is just a cameo, but this he would, that would be great to see him with that character.
Well, I'll agree with anything you can say that vindicates my probably unfair opinion, but
Dagon Spear says, if you haven't seen Secret Invasion's Nick Fury, broken old man, and totally. Yeah, that's another one that I didn't even mention, but that's what I've heard. It's just him being horrible the whole time, getting his butt kicked the entire show.
Well, there's something...
And going back and undoing stuff that unravels that character completely. Have you heard about all that stuff?
No, but we already started that in Captain Marvel, so I mean, might as well.
Yeah, it's like that to the nth degree. It sounds terrible.
Guys, there's an elephant in the room with Sam Jackson that nobody has been talking about with his Disney Plus series, and that is, it is the exact same situation as Picard. Not in that he's coming back and playing him for the first time in a bunch of years, although he hasn't been playing that character very often lately, but in that I think we've just all kind of forgotten how old Sam Jackson is. Like, he's not that much younger than Patrick Stewart, but he's in a Black Ops spy thriller thing where he's got to do at least as much action, if not more, as Patrick Stewart, and his action-driven show that should have just been a character-driven thing. I mean, I guess the difference is I can see what the 80-year-old Picard show would actually be. I don't see what that is for Nick Fury.
No, I don't like. Yeah, this is what Nick Fury is when he's old. He just pops into the movies and is like the guy behind the scenes. If you want to make a Nick Fury show, you got to go back to when he was young.
Yeah. Recast him. Or, I mean, that would be weird now with what you did with Captain Marvel. And to be fair, people complained that even with the good de-aging even with the good de-aging effects in Captain Marvel, he was lumbering around like an old man. I didn't see that as much. That didn't really take me out and bother me too much with that. But it helped that he was somebody else's sidekick. You know, you make him and there was a suspension of disbelief I could have in setting it period and de-aging and all of that. When you set it now, and he's supposed to be the action hero.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm ever going to go back to the Disney Plus shows, man. I haven't watched one in forever.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't know this because you haven't watched them, and I've skipped some of them too. But I guarantee you have better things to do. I'm sure you do. You have better things to do. Dan says, especially with MCU Nick Fury, because they won't do the comic book characterization. It's not kiddie enough. Yeah, that's true too. And I love the way he was characterized early on with Winter Soldier and stuff, and then they kidified him, especially with Captain Marvel. That's absolutely right. I'll never forgive them for the cat thing.
That cat thing was, come on, that's super serious, man. He lost an eye.
Do you know how much I want to skip the Marvels? And how much I'm hoping it gets Batgirled? It won't, but I want it to get Batgirled. I had this conversation with Austin, and I think maybe he's the, I don't want to steal somebody's thing. I think maybe he said Batgirled first with that, because there's a rumor that the Marvels could get pushed back again. Because of VFX artists talking about unionizing and possibly going on strike. There's been a talk about that, and there's been talk about that. And if that happens, apparently that movie not done?
Well, they run those special effects till like the weekend before. Like, they push those guys right up to the line. So I'm not surprised if it's not done yet.
Yeah, it's like a friggin' term paper.
Yeah, they cram for those movie releases.
And Dan says he's trying to encourage me not to go see that movie. Dan, but I've talked about every single superhero movie that's come to the theater for 14 years. I mean, I haven't skipped one that I can think of. I didn't see... well, okay, there's a couple during COVID that we were doing an experiment where I was trying to talk about them on the Captain Logan show instead of do their own videos, but I still talked about them. I still talked about...
still saw them.
I still saw them, yeah, a Black Widow and that stuff, but like, I don't know, man, no, you're right, I really should resist that. It looks awful and I don't want to see the stupid freaking alien cat again. I don't want to do it. I need somebody to put that in the ground. I need it to not have ever happened. But I saw DC Super Pets.
Yeah, you've seen a lot. I mean, I think you've seen things that
I
are
saw
probably going
the-
to end up being worse. You saw Thor 4.
I've seen things you can't even imagine. I saw, like I mentioned earlier, Teen Titans Go to the Movies in the theater. Yeah, and I'm gonna see Blue Beetle.
I haven't seen. Yeah, No Way Home was the last straw for me. I haven't seen any MCU movie since then, except for I did see Wakanda Forever. I made an exception for that one.
Yeah,
and it was fine. I don't know that I should have.
it was just fine. Except it had a real rough third act.
Yeah.
That final fight with Shuri, it's dreadful. It's embarrassing.
I don't even remember it, honestly.
Yeah, well, it was embarrassing. I mean, I can see why you might forget it, because if you liked anything in that movie, your brain would want it to have not happened. I'm just kidding. Anyway, moving right along.
Senior Sticks, $2. With the streaming era.
Streaming?
I think he means
the streaming era. Did he not have a G?
Yeah. He just no G.
That's great. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
But he didn't say. I think he means ending. But he didn't say this word. But he says, so parentheses. I'm going to add a word here. He says, with the streaming era ending, can digital return to glory?
So when you say digital, you mean, yeah? Is that the way we sort of roll it back? Is that how you put the genie in the bottle, where you get people to pay individually for movies again, but they're not buying them physically? What do you think about that, DJ?
I mean, I can't do it. I don't think I've ever done that. I don't think I've ever bought a digital movie.
Forget you, though. Like assume that physical still comes out and you're one of the 9 of us that still buy physical. Forget us. Forget those of us that actually buy the stuff physically. Everybody right now that does not buy movies but streams them and expects to be able to watch anything they want to on a streaming service, if all the streaming services went away, would there be a healthy market that could actually make money for digital distribution again?
Yeah.
Is that the way to save it? Is that the way to make residuals happen?
Yeah, there's still a good bit of people. I mean, digital sales still do pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. You're gonna have to completely restructure and build that confidence back up and the habit back up again, because people don't even know. Like, it's not even in the culture, people don't even pay attention to when movies come out anymore. Like when the movies are released, nobody knows, nobody cares. They're just like, they'll just be like looking at streaming and there'll be a banner like, oh, Netflix just got this, Peacock just got this. Like, that's what people are trained to do now. No one looks at the release dates and goes and buys it first day.
Yeah. So how long would it take to train them to actually keep up with that stuff again? Because you'd have to. How would you find out about them?
Yeah, people just wait until it's put in front of them. Nobody goes and looks for these things anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you could still sort of have that with wherever you get your digital distribution, like Amazon, YouTube, whatever, where like you've got the banners that are like, this is out. You have to pay for it, but it's out. But I don't think it's the same thing. I'm with you, because I think a lot of people, and the people that do pay for things right when they come out digitally, like do that, and they'll pay more than they ought to just to see it right away, like even before it goes to a streaming service. I know folks that do that. I don't understand that, because it's a giant ripoff, and you can just wait a few weeks and then it goes to Disney Plus or whatever.
Especially when that window is getting shorter and shorter and shorter, unless it's like a big Top Gun Maverick or a Barbie or something. If it doesn't make money, it's streaming in like 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, just be patient. And if it does make money, yeah, you're gonna have to wait longer because it's in the theater. But as soon as it's out of the theater, you're not waiting more than 8-12 weeks. It's so much shorter than it ever used to be. Like when we started going to a 3-month window, I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
That you only waited 3 months.
And now that's like impressive. Hey, it did get enough to get a 3-month window.
Yeah, exactly. But from the theater, I don't think even that happens. I think if something was super popular and it's like the Top Gun Maverick stays in the theater for like 8-9 months. In Japan, it stayed for a whole year. Broke their record for how long it was in the theater, 365 days. Once that's out of the theater, I think they're like, we can start selling this to people again in like 6 weeks.
Yeah. And I'm sad again.
Wait,
why would you do that to me, Senior Sticks?
Dan says he waited to see Renfield because he doesn't want to pay $20 for new movie rentals. And I mostly just read that because I appreciate Dan reminding me about Renfield because I want to watch that and I haven't done that yet. But yeah, I've never paid. I think I paid that much one time to review something, but I've never done it because I wanted to.
Yeah. People still talking about, man, I wish I could get you. How much would you need me to pay you to watch Secret Invasion? Because I think you will hate like literally everything about it. Like everything I've heard. I'm like, Cap's gonna hate that. That's gonna personally offend Cap. Like, I
really don't want to finish it.
It's like they made the wrong choice for you at every turn. Specifically, I think.
I tell you what, I'm gonna
be a fun experiment.
I'm gonna be a greedy SOB on this. Is what I'm gonna do, and I'll make it the super chat goal for next Captain Logan show. So not tonight. Guys, we
need this. Everyone.
Not tonight. So don't think if you throw a bunch of super chats at me tonight, I'm doing Secret Invasion. Don't do that. I
kind of want to do a live commentary on that with you because I think it would be the craziest one we've ever done. It sounds like the worst of the Disney Plus shows, which I didn't think.
Oh, you want to do a blind commentary instead of just a review?
I don't know.
On the whole damn show?
I'm just throwing stuff out there. When I heard, like, I watched like a full spoiler because I don't care. I watched like a full spoiler like thing on that thing, and everything that came up, I was like, man, Cap's gonna hate this.
Yeah, I really don't want to do it. And because I was just bored to tears, and everything I heard about that, I was kind of in the same place where I was with She-Hulk, where I was like, maybe someday I'll watch this, because if there's enough demand for a review, like down the line, if people want it now, I'll do it if there's enough interest, and I'll weigh that next show. That's what I'll do.
I kind of just want.
But if not enough people care, then I don't have to do it.
I just want a rant video to come out of it.
Well, I'm sure that's what it'll end up being, yeah.
I don't want you to have to suffer through, what is it, 8 hours? Jeez.
Pagan Spear, you do 24-hour streams. Yeah, but I haven't done that yet on a thing that's really, really hard to watch. I mean, there's seasons of Smallville that will be that way, I'm sure, but...
Although I heard they started just, like, giving up at the end, and, like, the last episodes are, like, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 25 minutes. Like, they just kept
That's amazing,
stopping.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they probably ran out of money, because I heard that there was a obligatory like giant CG fight in the last episode.
Oh, it's outrageous how much that thing. It was like 250 million or something. Like it was.
Why do you know so much about this?
Because I've been fascinated by it because it sounds so awful. I don't know. I just basically watched one long video about it.
Okay, there you go. You sound like you've seen it.
No, I will not. Unless we do like some just drunk live commentary where we just riff it the whole time.
Dan says you need to see Secret Invasion to understand the Marvel's silly pants. No, I'm good. I'm good unless enough people care. Yeah, I don't have time to knock that out in the next couple weeks anyway. We've got some big videos on the horizon, so I'll do it as, and I'm trying to finish the movie script. So yeah, I'll do a Super Chat goal next week, and I won't make it insanely high. I'll make it possible that I end up having to review that. Next Friday night, let me do real quick announcements for upcoming things now that I mentioned that. Austin and I are going to do another Superhero Rewind commentary. We're doing it 2 weeks in a row because we've got a couple of weeks after that we're not doing Rewind commentaries, and we don't know what exactly we're doing next time. We're going to make a poll for the Rewind producers, the $10 patrons. So he and I are putting that together right now. It'll be our picks, and then they'll vote on those. So again, quick plug for Patreon. And then the week after that, we're doing The Simpsons season 4 finally. I've started preparing for that. And then the week after that, so September 2nd, I think, John and I will be doing season 4 of Smallville, and that will be another 24-hour stream. So big shows the next few Fridays. Taken Spear says, I will suffer for their entertainment. Yeah, that's pretty much been my career. That's what I do.
Cedar Stick said, DJ, are you a scroll? Maybe.
A thinly veiled one.
No, I'm putting it right out there. My intentions. Like all the scrolls in that show, apparently.
Oh, I don't want no scrolls.
All right, where are we going next? We got $5 from T-Edge1. His second super chat would push him at $15. So in firing range of Goofster at 20. Still in the
I like
lead.
how you tried to correct yourself. It still wasn't English, and you just moved on.
You just got to roll with it. You know, when someone almost finds out you're a scroll, you just got to keep going.
Bob Garland asked if we're going to have any pre-written questions tonight. We should throw in a couple of those here in a little bit, if you would, DJ. Because we have had quite a bit in the way of super chats.
Yeah, we have.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead and read Tom's super chat.
Tom wants to know, what if The Shining and your first book were connected and Dr. Franklin treated Jack after he went crazy? Wink, wink, you're the best ever. The best ever. No qualifications, just the best.
The best at life. Yeah, thanks, man. That is such an ambiguous compliment that it doesn't even stroke my ego. Like I can't get my mind around it.
No, it's too big. It's too big.
Yeah, so this is a real self-indulgent sort of question, and I'll knock this out real quick and we'll move on. But yeah, I don't. I can't really imagine Jack Torrance in the universe or the multiverse of my first novel. Like, I think if I don't think there's any therapist that can help that man. You know, like I'm pretty sure he's far enough gone that you would just be running out of the room while the guy was chasing you with a hatchet and yelling, "Here's Johnny," and you would just hope that there were no mazes anywhere. I'm pretty sure that's what would happen.
But what kind of food would Jack Torrance be in your second book?
Oh, did he ask that?
No, that's just my question.
Oh, well, that apologies to Tom. That's a better question.
Sorry, Tom.
Jack Torrance would be a pumpkin.
Ah.
Did I have any pumpkins in the book? Do you remember?
No, I don't think so. Not that I remember.
Can you believe it has been 6 years since I wrote that and I still don't have a print version? And I feel bad about that. I've been... Full disclosure, and I talked to you about this, DJ, I've been wrestling real hard this year with whether I'm going to go ahead and finally self-publish a print version or if I'm going to finally start working at trying to get it traditionally published. Because I'm kicking that around. Initially, I didn't want to, and I've been wanting to get back into the writing game a little bit harder, and I've got this book that I'm very proud of and confident in, and I think it could sell if the right publisher jumped on it. And so I don't know. I don't know what the right move is with it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Scott Simmons just said DJ's scroll name is Criterion.
That's pretty good.
Just pretty good.
Dan just called me a fraud because I don't have a print version of that book. I mean, I wrote it in print. and I did an audio version.
He wrote it in a notebook in his own blood.
No. I've done that, but not with this. No, that was
Dan's about to have a book. We should shout out Dan's comic. It looks awesome.
Yeah. He's got a Kickstarter coming.
Yeah.
He's
got a trailer. Check out his channel, guys. He's got a trailer for it. It looks awesome. A couple trailers. Let me see here. What do we got? Gooster123, $10. Thoughts on Spider-Man Reign getting a sequel now? The government needs to take Spidey away from Marvel until they prove they can be responsibly care for him.
Agreed.
Here.
No, I had not heard about that. That's ridiculous. Of course, because I mean everything eventually gets a sequel, even things people are very polarized on.
Whether you love it or hate it, you'd remember it. So we got to do another one.
DJ, real quick, sorry, I'm stuck on this now. One of the reasons that I'm torn on whether I want to go like actually seek out a publisher for that is I like your book cover and I don't want another publisher to pick a different book cover, and I don't want a crappy book cover. Oh,
don't let that be the reason. If you got an option, take it, man.
Yeah, but like you're working on layouts, and your layouts look really good. And I also hate for you to do all that work, and we never actually printed.
Yeah, we can print one for ourselves. I mean,
Oh, okay.
but if you get a real publisher on it, take it, man. Don't let me hold you back.
It's not a bad idea. But yeah, maybe we should have our cake and eat it too with it.
Yeah, this is the first edition version that we can get. You know, we'll sign it and put it in one of those.
There's nothing because I own it right now. I mean, like full rights. There's no stopping me from doing a print on demand thing where like you and I could have one, and then I could let the viewers, the 3 viewers that will care buy one, and then if I get it published, then we won't sell those anymore. Maybe that's what we should do.
You still probably have first editions of your first book, right? That you published, right?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I
have one.
I did do. Do you have the purple one?
I have whichever one you gave out in the Geeks United Club. I don't remember which one that was, but I got a copy when I don't
remember if that was the. Well, there's the purple one with a different title.
No, it was when it was changed to Girl with 7 Birth Names.
Okay, that's not the first edition. That's the second edition. That's the true publisher one. Now it's still a very small publisher that's no longer in business, but it was traditionally published.
It looks good though. It's a nice quality.
Oh, they did a great job. Yeah, and I had a good editor, and I had a good what am I trying to say? Cover artist, and. Most importantly, I was able to say that I actually got published.
Yeah,
that was the important part. But no, they did a really good job. But yeah, that was called The Girl with 7 First Names, and then the original title was Normal as a 4-letter word.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have a few of those left.
That's cool.
That was sorry for getting stuck on this. I've been thinking about my kind of a dead nothing happening writing career lately because I've been working on this film script, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the thing I should still be doing, and I poured myself into the channel and into raising kids and stuff, and I've let it get on the back burner, and I'm always a lot happier when I'm doing it. I always feel a lot more focused. Words come to me better when I'm writing.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to it, man. That'll be great to have another one on your belt.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I have another one from Goofster. He has secured his lead. He has put in another $10 super chat.
Have we done a pre-written yet?
No, but we've already read this one. This is the Spider-Man one. I was just saying that it is Goofster.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
And he is up to 30. So that was the one about the Spider-Man Reign. But I'll jump back to a pre-written here.
Thanks,
we got some early ones from, this is a good one, AMC Comics, Films by Color, or, for us, what animated superhero shows that you haven't seen would you each most like to check out? Thanks.
Let me think. What animated superhero show have I never given the time of day? The one that immediately comes to mind is Legion of Superheroes, because I do not care about Legion, but I've always heard good things about that show. Mm-hmm. And I've never watched past the pilot of Wolverine and the X-Men, which I found boring to tears. But people say good things about it after that. And I've never seen the second season of Spectacular Spider-Man, but that doesn't count because I've seen the first season. I need to finally get on that. What is it for you?
I don't know. I mean, obviously anything in the DCAU I have not seen anything of, so I'd like to get to that. It's just so daunting because it's so much of it. I'd probably maybe...
The good news is... Can I say this real quick?
Sure.
The good news is until you get to Justice League, it all stands by itself. And so, it's a good continuity that doesn't really contradict itself much or at all. So, you could get on a show and you could latch onto it and you could watch it. And then if you never watch anything else, you had a good show. Or you could, leave some time in between and then go look at something else. It's daunting in that there's a lot of it, but it's not the sort of continuity really until you get to Justice League where you should feel bad about not seeing all of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
I'd like to watch more Turtles. I've seen all of the '03 show. But I've only seen a couple episodes of the 2012 show and the '80s show. So I'd like to watch through both of those, probably with my kids. I like to watch. I just bought this recently, and I'd like to start watching through this with my son.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big one because I've only seen 2, maybe 3 episodes of the show. So
it gets really redundant. There's a lot of fun things in that show. It does not hold up great as an adult. Like I'll just warn you on that, certainly. And there comes to a place where they're really phoning that show in.
yeah.
But there's certainly a lot of fun to be had. It's just if you don't already have nostalgia for it, I don't know how watchable you'll find it.
Yeah, I would only go to it with my kids to try to watch it through their lens, because I don't think going to it as an adult by myself would be very fun at all.
Sure, but I mean, I have a hard time making that distinction with my kids. Like, I still can't really actively watch the 90s Sonic show. Like, they love it. They'll sit down and watch like several episodes in a row of that. I can't do it. And I can't do it with the Mario Super Show anymore either.
Yeah.
So I mean that's like one of those.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have that too. I kind of had that with the Mario movie. I watched that with my kids, and I was like, I got my phone out like a bad dad. But
oh wow, okay.
I think they enjoyed it, or at least my son might have. He laughed a couple times. But yeah, those are the big ones. Yeah, DC and Spawn. Maybe I'd like to check out the Spawn show. I've never seen that. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you like that.
But yeah, let me know in the chat, guys, what other big ones. I'd like to watch Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes Season 2. I've only seen the first season of that.
Yeah.
But that's like a cap. I have seen some of it. But yeah.
I finally finished Gargoyles. I never did that. I've watched.
That's one that I would like to check out. Because I didn't see any of that, but it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna read another pre-written, if you don't mind, before we hop back. We got a bunch this beginning of the show. Okay. Jareth Gerhardt. Hey Cap, now that both are done, who had the better run? Netflix, Marvel, or Arrowverse?
It's not done. Oh wait, that wasn't even a super chat. I've forgotten the gong rules.
Yeah, Netflix, Marvel, or Arrowverse? Which had the better run? Whoa, Sophie's choice.
Yeah, pretty much. I guess I'm gonna throw it to Netflix Marvel because it had, like, at its highest heights, they were much higher than CW DC at its highest heights, and it had more consistent quality for longer with the shows that started good. So I'll break down just a little bit of this. Daredevil Season 1 is a masterpiece and still maybe the best piece of superhero material put on screen, adapted to screen. I cannot say anything close to that with anything from CW DC. The second season is a step down, but still watchable, and I like it. It's a little convoluted. I'm with a lot of people with the hand thing and with the Elektra thing. And then season 3 comes back a little bit. And then Jessica Jones, first season, in my mind, almost a near masterpiece. Second season is one of the most dreadful things I've ever seen ever. But again, never does CW DC get to the heights of that. What I'm saying is, it starts sophisticated and always feels like it's for adults, even when it's bad. And CW, like, it degenerates into, I don't even know if I want to say schlock, but just like a badly written version and a horribly paced version of the deliberately well-paced and well-written thing that it was in the first place. CWDC degenerates into self-parody and feels like it was, in some ways, this isn't going to be fair to people, but this is how I feel about it. In a lot of ways, it feels like it started as good, like, YA fiction that degenerates into Saturday morning cartoon. That's what CWDC is. So and then like first half of Luke Cage is wonderful, and it falls apart a little bit in the second half, but it's still okay. And yeah, all those things get not good, which is unfortunate, and it's rough. And also, they weren't on as long to get anything like as bad as DC ultimately did with CW, because you can't imagine what some of those latter seasons are like for some of the shows. So yeah, I have to give it to Netflix Marvel, but it's all very disappointing at the end of the day.
Yeah. I think that's an easy choice, even though as bad as Netflix did get. Now, if we throw Disney Plus in there, who knows how bad Disney Plus is going to get?
Yeah, exactly. Can I just go on record to say that I have no faith whatsoever in their Daredevil show? Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to try it. I hope it's good. I have no faith in it whatsoever.
How could you? Like, the Disney Plus shows have gotten worse and worse every single time.
Why would I? And you've got people saying that's their last chance. That's the last-ditch effort. If that doesn't work, close up shop. Hey, maybe time to close up shop. Because, I don't trust it.
Yeah, you almost don't want to see it, right? You almost don't want them to do that to Daredevil.
All right, good. Moving right along. We got 20 minutes left in the show. Let's see how many more questions we can knock out. How many super chats do we have right now?
We have got 4 at the moment.
Okay, let's do it.
AMC Comics says, thanks for reading my pre-written. You're welcome. It was a great question. Josh Galisano, $2. Who is your favorite Fugitoid across TMNT media?
Wow. Never expected anybody to ask that question, and it's also weird to live in a world where these things have existed long enough for there to be multiple Fugitoids. They're all good. I mean, I don't think there's been a bad version of Fugitoid. Now, I think he shows up in 2012 maybe, and I haven't seen that because I haven't watched enough of that show. I've seen a little bit more than DJ, but not a lot. Like, I think I watched the first half of the first season at one point and then fell off, and I've seen little bits of it through. And I've seen the 87 crossovers they did, including the finale, but I've not watched that whole show.
I wonder if there's a Fugitoid in the Terrible Rise show.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know how much they're even trying to adapt anything in that show. It's a lot of made up stuff. It doesn't even look like Ninja Turtles for what I've seen of it. But anyway, the only Fugitoids I'm really familiar with, and I'm rusty, are the original the original Mirage Fugitoid, which was, if you're not familiar, a original creation by, I want to say, Eastman? Or was it Laird? I can't remember. God, it's been too long. Somebody will tell me in the comments. Somebody will know this. Maybe Dan knows this. But there was a one-shot that one of them wrote before they even did Ninja Turtles. And then very early, they roped him into that world, and they put him in those comics. So I've read a little bit with him. And then the 2003 Fugitoid in the cartoon show, and then IDW Fugitoid. And I definitely would give it to IDW Fugitoid just because he's there a lot longer and is able to be developed quite a bit.
Yeah, I think in 2003,
but he's a pretty complex.
I think in 2003 he's only there for the Triceratops arc.
The Triceratons, yeah.
Yeah, for that 3 or 4 episodes or whatever. But he's great. But yeah, I have to go with IDW too, having not read the Mirage stuff.
You know, it must be a Laird creation because the 2003 show was Peter Laird's baby, and it feels a lot more like, tonally his speed because and all of his favorite things are there. And then in 2012, that is Eastman consulting on that show. So it's really interesting. I've talked about this before, but it's really interesting that we had 2 cartoon shows with each consulted on by a different creator of Ninja Turtles. And if you, unless it's just all about art style, if you character models and stuff, if you really appreciate one show over the other, it might possibly mean that your sensibilities are more in line with either Eastman or Laird. So it's really interesting.
That's really cool, yeah. Burned In is making a play for the lead here.
Oh my goodness.
It's in a $20 super chat.
Wow. We've got oh, sorry, I got too excited.
They really want their names in that film,
movie.
burned into that film forever.
Burned in.
But Goofster still has the lead with $30, Burned In at $20, and Tom with $15.
We got a fight here, man.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
We got fisticuffs.
We got a horse race.
It's a horse race.
Did you check out? Oh yes, Burnton says, did you check out Secret Invasion? I feel like I was seeing it in it what other people saw in Andor. Good stuff until the last episode, which was embarrassing and ruined everything. They can't keep getting away with this.
What's really funny, and as I said earlier, you probably hadn't come in yet, I saw the first 25 minutes and was bored to tears and never got back to it. And then I heard awful things and I could not bring myself to spend the time to watch that. I watched bad Star Trek instead. And then
he's gonna watch something bad. It's just what bad thing is he gonna watch?
Yeah, well, that's sometimes the nature of consuming any current media, it seems like. That's not fair. I'm sure there's a lot of great things going on that I don't know about that I'm not looking at, but none of them are already my favorite franchises. Anyway, and then I mentioned earlier that I've decided, because there was some talk about trying to get me to do some kind of video on Secret Invasion, that I'm gonna do a super chat goal for that next show. So that might end up happening. I'll make it low enough where it's possible. Anyway, that is hilariously the highest praise I have heard for that show.
Yeah, that's the only I've heard.
That is a glowing recommendation compared to everything else, everybody else I've heard talk about that show.
Yeah, it sounds like he had the same experience as some people have had with a lot of the other shows, where it just falls off in the last episode.
Josh says Laird also goes to science fiction a lot, but I think Fugitoid was created by both Eastman and Laird. Maybe that's right. I thought one of them wrote and drew that before he met the other, but I may not be remembering that right, because I did a bunch of research for a omnibus show I did with Eric years ago on this subject, and it's been that long since I've read about some of that stuff. So, and since I've read the Mirage comics, that was now 5-6 years ago.
Nice. All right, T-Edge1 passes Burned In with a $10 super chat, putting him at 25. Burned In still at 20, and Goofster123 still holding strong in the lead at 30.
Oh my goodness.
This is from T-Edge1. Make so things like the Disney Club and Cells are exclusively through the streaming service, and swap out the free things, example 1 month Thor included with streaming, but pay to still watch when goes.
Okay, I'm going to try to make this gong sound as much like a question mark as possible. Huh? So he's clearly trying to develop some sort of strategy.
It's like he's trying to speak to me. I know it.
For selling something. What is he talking about?
I'm just going to read it straight but slower this time.
Oh, okay. I guess I should roll up and actually look at it. Hang on. Can I read it?
Yes. I assume instead of make so things, he means make some things.
I'm sure that's what he means, but I'm going to read what's here. Make so things like the Disney Club and Cells. Okay, so sale. Okay, let's actually try to interpret this. Make some things like the Disney Club and Sales are exclusive through the streaming service, and swap out the free things. Now, example, 1 month of Thor included with streaming, but pay to still watch. And I have no idea what the hell when goes means.
When goes.
Tom, I'm sorry. I'm going to need you to speak English so that I can actually respond to the super chat. But
just give it a once over. It's not a race. You don't have to hit send as soon as you finish typing.
Yeah, I don't mean to make fun of you. I just don't really know what you're suggesting here.
I think he's suggesting doing like pay-per-view on streaming services, which they tried on Disney Plus, and it went horribly wrong. Yeah. Everybody hated it and revolted.
Yeah. And you're saying like you get something free, but then you pay to watch the rest of it. Yeah, that sounds convoluted, and I don't know. I get that you're trying to fix a problem, but you gotta. I don't know. They're gonna have to come up with a very simple solution. Back to that earlier idea that the commenter 45 minutes had about that. That may ultimately be the thing. He may be onto something there, but I'm with you, DJ. It's gonna take years,
yeah,
to reprogram people if we were to go that way, and there'd be a lot of money lost in the meantime, but then they're not making any money with streaming anyway, so what, why not take the risk? It makes me wonder how many people would go, well, if I gotta buy them anyway, I might as well go physical. Like, would it increase physical sales? It ain't gonna bring them back to anything like what they used to be, but I could see like a 5%, 10% increase in sales over it.
Yeah, it could help. They've already done so much damage, though. It's not gonna do much, but I have never felt more like I was reading a script written by Charlie Kelly in that moment. Thank you, Tom. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, not even an AI. Hey, how many super chats do we have left at this point? We have 9 minutes left in the show.
We just got another one, so 2.
Okay, sweet. Well, let's knock them out, shall we? And then if no more come in, we'll say right now, like, last call for super chats, because we've got just a few minutes left in the show. If you want to try to take the lead, you still have a little bit of time. So when I say last call, get in your last super chat, if you're so inclined anyway. And if we don't see any more, we'll finish the show on pre-writtens.
All right.
We kept up okay.
We're doing great. We're getting our water legs again. So, as of right now, Goofster123 will appear in the movie script.
Well, his name will.
His name, no, yeah, we're not flying him out.
We're not going to fly him out.
But his name will appear. I can't wait to see how you weave that in there. Senior Sticks, $2. If Geekvolution had a giant robot...
Now I got to be clever about it somehow. Crap. Now I feel like I have to come up with a whole new plan for what I was going to do with that.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to set high expectations for you.
I can't wait to see how it's... Oh, really? Oh, all right.
If T-Edge1 wins, if he passes him with another, $6, can you just put "still watch when goes" in your script? Senior Sticks, if Geekvolution had a giant robot, which part?
I think Tom helped write that super chat.
Tom co-wrote that super chat.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be mean to Tom, but that was hilarious gobbledygook. I really enjoyed reading that. And now I just have that I Formed the Head song stuck in my head.
Yeah, I think he means like if it was a robot formed of different, like a Megazord, what guests would be each part of the Megazord?
Each part, yeah. Well,
don't give me one of the crappy foots, or the
Dude, nobody wants to be a foot.
Especially like later on, the feet are cooler, but in the main Megazord, like the unicorn and the Griffin Zord are just shoes that just slide across the ground. They don't even look like a unicorn or a griffin.
Yeah.
Billy and Trini got gypped.
Now here's the thing. You do get gypped in that you don't get the coolest looking part and you have to just drive a foot, but at least you're not in the foot. Can you imagine if that's how you drove a Megazord or any kind of mech where you have to be inside the piece that you're controlling? Or you're a foot and you're in like a really crappy theme park ride. You're just going, whoa!
Well, if you were a hand, yeah, you'd just be like every time
playing around. It's like, oh man, I got a punch now. Okay, wow. Yeah, that would suck. So yeah, I would be obviously in the head because I gotta run the thing. I gotta steer the ship, and we'd make Austin. Yeah, Austin gets a foot.
Austin's a foot.
He has
he's the newest. He's like the intern. He's got to do the hazing period.
Which is so funny because he's on more shows than you, but I still feel I would still feel the need to make you like the symbolic right hand because you've been. That's not fair to Austin at all, because you've been doing this job for so long. But yeah, so like you're in the right hand. Apologies to Austin. Austin, no, you're in the right hand. Austin's in the left hand, and then. Somehow I feel like this is weirdly self-indulgent, you know, like I'm in the head, I'm like the Godhead, right? And then here's my right hand and my left hand. This is so dumb. I don't want to talk about this anymore. And then I'm sorry to Jason, but he's in a foot. And then I guess what? Dan Torrey's in the other foot. Is that how that goes? Who are we leaving out?
Dan can be the chest. He's the heart of the whole thing.
Who's like the Sixth Ranger? Who gets the cool bird part that fits?
Who just comes in and is only wings and guns and saves the day.
Saves the day. Doesn't even have to link up with us. You know, like he does. He creates
Connor's
like
the cool guy.
That's Connor.
Who only reviews like one movie a month or so, and he just swoops in with his Falcon.
he connects up to make like Mega Ninja Falcon's or whatever.
Yeah, he makes all the commenters furious at him, and then he flies away.
Then all we do is fling a sword, and then he leaves. That's it.
Yeah, he's the cool loner type who has to go save the monorail, which is falling off.
Cinematographic, where's Sarah? Well, Sarah doesn't like mech roll. She doesn't want to drive the A part of that. Okay, let's knock out the rest of these.
Sarah's back at the command center with Alpha.
Did you just cast Sarah as an incompetent robot?
No, she's with Alpha.
Oh, so you cast her as the impotent ranger that no longer gets to morph.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right.
She's had her time. She hasn't been on Geek Evolution in a while, so she hasn't morphed in a while.
Okay, that makes sense.
So she's Billy and Zeo helping out with the command center.
Yeah. AMC, yeah, Cap, but the head is what's most likely to get hit most often. No, that tracks. That sounds about right. Okay, go ahead.
You take all the hits for the channel, that's for sure. 5590 ERS.
That's probably not fair either.
Which show has aged better? 87 TMNT or MMPR? Wow, that's a tough one.
That is a tough one, because the answer is clearly neither.
Have either of them aged at all? Like good at all? I don't know.
Boy, I don't know how to answer that except just based on influence. Where like we keep going back to Mighty Morphin in different ways. In '87, it seems like we've kind of gotten past really tonally. And we like some of the designs of those things. We like to try to integrate old characters that nobody used to have the rights to put in Ninja Turtle stuff, but we still do them in, kind of more sophisticated ways. And certainly with the Boom comics, with Power Rangers, we've been doing that as well. I guess okay. Power Rangers, I'm going to say, ekes it out by like this much, DJ. And that's all due to Ron Wasserman. Because that is the one thing that holds up from that show. His music's great. I still listen to it. I listen to it on its own. Like, it's good. And I think it's as timeless as that kind of music is ever going to be. And the Ninja Turtles theme song is arguably that way, but not the rest of it. And Wasserman had more music than just the theme song. So I'll base it on music alone and say it's Power Rangers.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with the opposite for another superficial reason that animation has like longer staying power because it's more stylistic, whereas the crappy filming in the 90s Power Rangers show is aging like cheese.
And the Sentai footage dates it.
Yeah, so at least if it's animated, it's kind of outside of time. It's kind of that 80s nostalgia look, whereas I don't think anyone is craving that look of the Power Rangers show. That didn't become iconic. It's kind of just like filmed in your backyard. I don't even know what you would call that. The cameras they used on that show.
Okay, we got to wrap up here.
All right, TH1, $2. Clarification. Let's see if you can clarify. PPV, but swapping out what available to see without PPV.
No, that did not clarify things in any way. I don't know what that means either.
And then he says
PPV is pay-per-view. I get that, but what does C mean?
I think he means C. I think he was just trying to shortcut it to try to get words in. But he says in another $2 super chat, like the old Volt. But I think he means like the old Vault. So I think his whole thing is like taking things out and bringing it back, which is what all streaming services
they're already
do.
doing.
And everybody hates it when they do that.
Yeah. No, they don't like that. So you're saying change what's available, you have to pay for it piecemeal, and sometimes there's things that, no, that would not be smart. The smart way to do it would be to have everything under the sun available, and you a la carte all of it. Right?
Yeah.
What would be, DJ, the whole reason that you, unless we're just not understanding what he's saying still, the whole reason that you cycle stuff in and out is to give people new incentives to keep, well, it's a couple reasons. It's to give people new incentives to hang on to their subscriptions, but it's also because you have different contracts with different companies.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have any of that necessarily. Like I wouldn't think that you would keep coming up with different contracts with different companies if you were doing it the a la carte way. I would think there would just be, I don't know. I wouldn't think it would work that way. He's still trying to clarify this.
Oh yeah, he puts another $2 super chat, but you can buy PPV like Prime.
Right, but aren't you talking about just pay-per-view in the first place? I'm sorry, Tom. We've got to move on. I'm not fully understanding what it is you're suggesting, and I don't think I would in just super chats the way you're trying to post them. I appreciate the super chats, but please don't try to clarify this any further because we've got to end the show, and I'm not getting it. Do we have anything else we've got to tackle, or do we just tally it up here?
That was it. That was the last one, and I think because of those clarifications.
Oh no! Did he edge it out?
That puts Tom at like 31 or 30. Let me double check here. Drum roll, $10.
I mean, I don't mean to say oh no. I'm just saying I was surprised by that because I thought somebody else was a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, that puts him right at 31 and right over Goofster, which was at 30.
Oh wow, by like $1.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
All because we couldn't understand him.
Okay, so it sounds like he won it then.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for everybody who participated with that tonight. We really appreciate all of the support, and thanks to everybody for watching. That means that Tom's name will show up in the Superhero Rewind movie script. I may do this one more time because I don't want to give anything away, but the thing I'm doing with that, I'll have more slots where I can include more people. Don't worry, there won't be so many that you won't be seeing. It's not going to be like in the credits for what am I trying to say? Movies that are crowdfunded, where you have like 150 names that all scroll at the end. You can't read any of them, but people paid like $50 to get their name there.
It's gonna be like X2, where Cap's
like
looking at a computer screen with like Remy LeBeau's name and all that stuff that they threw in.
Again, I don't want to give too much away, but it's like that. But you'll see it longer. You'll be on the screen longer than that.
Oh, Tom just put in another super chat for $2 that said, "Give it to Goofster."
It's not. Oh wow. Okay. Well, if you'd like us to do that, that is what we'll do.
Awesome, man. That's great.
Good on you. That was really nice of you, Tom. Thanks for doing that, man. And I'm sorry we had a hard time figuring out what you were saying in your super chats, but thank you for doing that. That was super nice of you. Okay, cool.
Goofster, 1, 2, 3.
We will give it. You know what? I've got the space. Throw them both in there.
Okay. Well, I don't have the script.
We'll say. Okay, I will throw them both in there. Pardon me.
Like, whoa, am I supposed to have more control than I have?
Write a bit. Yeah, I actually want you to write that scene.
Oh gosh, give me homework.
That's the plan. I didn't tell you about that, but you have to write one scene for my movie.
Oh man, that's a big important scene. The chat's gonna come after me if I screw it up. Yeah, he says he would have won if I hadn't been trying to get you to understand. So I want him to have it. That's awesome, man.
Well, that was cool of him. Okay, so let me get these written down.
Some say
here.
There's a hero in all of us.
I quoted that just last night on stream.
Oh yeah, I gotta watch that. I didn't watch your trailer. I was out. Your Spider-Man trailers video. That sounded fun.
Okay, well, folks, we really appreciate you watching tonight. Thanks a lot for being here. Brandon is here, and he and I are going to do a Geekvolution After Dark here in just a few minutes for Patreon, probably around 9:30. I give it about 15 minutes. Patreon.com/Geekvolution. Come hang out with us. We'll talk for about an hour and a half. We don't have any particular plan tonight. I haven't talked to Brandon in a while. We're just going to chat about whatever comes to mind, and feel free to bring topics for us if there's something you really want to talk to us about. DJ, wonderful time as always. Really appreciate you, man.
It was great. It was fun tonight. I loved it. Thanks, guys.
Hey, it's fun every night. What are you talking about?
Well, it's even more fun that we only get it once a week.
Yeah, that's true. I do miss the twice a week. I do.
I think it's going well though. I think it's good. I think it's a good rhythm.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's working out. Sorry, I'm stalling here because I'm having a hard time finding a thing that I need. Anyway, once again, we appreciate you guys for being here. Join me tomorrow night for another Superhero Rewind commentary for the Commentary Project. And I was Captain Logan. This was DJ Martinez.
I was the right hand.
Later, I'll form the head. Bye, everybody.